meow, 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 meow.
Here's a walkthrough on this watercolor of a golden doodle puppy. Always starting off with a first wash of water added with some color. This is considered a water wash, where you start with water and you drip in colors. I try to drip in and map out the highlights of the puppy and get the highlight tones in there. So because it's a golden doodle, we want to add in the golden colors of highlights. You can do it for the blue, for the nose. Sometimes there's some purples in there. And you can put the first base layer of the eyes too for where the highlights are going to be. It helps brighten things and makes it a lot easier as you go through. Once that's done, we're going in. You can see over here in the close up to the ear, we're adding in more details. Not using black. Black is saved until the very end. You can use the dark brown mixed with blue to create like the ultramarine blue, create a darker brown, a grayer, duller version, and use that to map out the curls. Usually we don't do this step on short-haired dogs, but because it's such a curly haired dog, you really want to map it out so you don't lose the details as you keep adding in layers. I use the brown so that if I make a mistake, I can easily blend or lift it up. If you use a black, it is very, very, very difficult to fix black. So you want to make sure you save that darkest colors till the very end. So you can see here, I'm adding in more details. I'm adding in the darks. Just going all over and mapping everything out. And watercolor is all about layers. The more layers you can put in, the more realistic it'll look. You just have to play with the balance of layers and overworking it. You really want to avoid overworking, which is why black is never used until the end. Right here, the eye is a tricky part because for this particular pup, there's hair covering it. So you want to respect that little detail. It looks like for all the reference photos of this cutie, his eyes are usually covered with his wisp of hair from his nose, which is so cute. And to really emphasize it, you want to make sure you still maintain the lightness in there. Once you go over it, it's really hard to fix it, especially with the detailed area of the eye. It requires a lot of sensitivity towards that. So I would map it out and then go into the eye area and add in the darks and add in the color of the eye and the shadows. And remember, when you put in dark colors, try to start working in the darkest spot of the shadows and then work your way out, because your brush is full of pigment at that point. You can always blend it out and it'll become lighter. You don't want to go in and just go for that mid-tone right away. Go for the darkest when you work in the third, fourth, fifth layers and blend it out. So here you really see me working on wisping the hair, trying to give it more texture, more dimension. When you paint fur, you want to go with the direction that it's growing. You want to kind of like you're growing or you're petting the pup. You never want to really pet pups the opposite direction of the hair. You want to grow with it. You want to paint with it. He's such a cutie. Just want to boop him. I like to pretend that these dogs are mine, or that I can borrow them for 2 hours and just put my face in theirs. It's so soft, so fluffy. Over here, I'm working on the ears. It's tricky in the ear area too, because where the ear is, there's a lot of texture for just the ear, but also where it meets the head, there's texture there too. So it's mapping it out, all being very careful and cautious, mapping it all out. So after adding details onto the ear, and you want to go back, kind of work your way backwards. back to the other side and making sure you get plenty of details on top of the head too. With pet portraits, it's easy to get lost with the eyes, the nose, and the ears, but everything is really important when you do these portraits. I like to take pictures of the halfway point, or even when I feel like I'm almost done, to really take a moment and look at the picture and look at the reference on two screens instead of the one in front of you, because it kind of tricks your eyes to look at things differently, and it helps you see the areas that could use more work. So pushing back shadows on top of the head, adding in more details, all of that is really important. Putting shadows on the bottom of the chin, stuff like that. It's really nice to take a step back. Most of these paintings are done over the course of 2 to 3 days. Even though I might not spend all day painting it, I will get to one section, maybe like halfway done, 75% done, put it away, and then come back the next day with fresh eyes. I've noticed that by coming in with fresh eyes, I can push myself even further than I could have if I just worked right through. And though it takes a little bit longer to do, I feel like the reward is much better at the technical and the visual end of things. And then, daily I do about 3 to 4 of these paintings at a time. And so everyone's at a different stage, which is really exciting for me. Some of them are just starting with the water wash. Some of them are ready for details. Some of them are just finishing them up and highlighting and adding in the darkest of darks. So having that variety keeps me on my toes, and it makes sure that each painting that leaves my desk, it has the best quality I can give. All right, we're really just putting in final details here, pushing shadows, looking for the strands of fur that really stand out and that need a little bit more enhancement or contouring. And just getting in all of those extra little details. Pushing shadows too when needed, adding extra fluff. At this point, I can sometimes become a little more expressive with the fur, or add strands that might not be there already for the sake of making it more even looking. Maybe the reference photo was a little bit off. Maybe you couldn't see all the hair. Maybe some parts were chopped off or the lighting was weird. So here is a good point to look at it, take a step back. What can I do to balance the portrait more? More likely than not, the reference photo was not very balanced. So pushing more shadows on one side, or adding more highlights or extra strands of hair, they're all really good ways to balance the photo and the portrait, the painting in the very end. These are just really nitpicking things that I think as artists, we're never really done with our paintings. Probably work on them for days and for hours on end. But these are the details that matter to us, and I think really help enhance the portrait. I think with him, I struggled a lot with the balance of light and dark because I never want to make it too dark. So I tend to be a little bit hesitant, but then I go back in and add more shadows and some details are lost. So a lot of back and forth. It's always a learning process. Always trusting yourself. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching my tutorial. If you want to see more videos just like this, go ahead and click subscribe right over here. If you want to follow me along my journey, I share a lot of behind the scenes on Instagram. And if you want to commission your own artwork, go ahead and visit my website at www.sheilachenart.com. Leave a comment below and let us know what you want to hear more of. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you.